The options in Revit are available from the application menu. Down at the bottom right of the application menu you see the button for the options. Within the options dialog box you'll find a left hand side pane that you can left click on to bring out the information in the right hand side. We'll take a look at some of the main points. The General tab here. This is where you'll find the save reminders, which can be set from between 15 minutes and 4 hours. You can also turn off the reminders. There's a reminder for saving and there's a reminder for synchronize with Central. It should be noted that they are reminders, not autosaves, so you need to manually save once the reminder activates. Under the username area you'll find the username that Revit uses. It's taken from your Windows login initially. It can be changed at any point to any name that you need. Journal files are created as Revit goes along. You'll find that if you have any problems with errors in the software, then troubleshooting can be assisted with these journal files. So you can see here that the journal files will be cleaned up when there's more than 10 journal files, or if they're more than 10 days old, so you can adjust this accordingly. The work sharing update frequency enables you to control how often Revit's work sharing display modes and editing requests are updated in model views. And then down at the bottom here you'll see you can set the discipline that is your default discipline. Onto the user interface tab you'll see you can change the active theme between light and dark. You can access your keyboard shortcut in the same way as typing KS when you're in the main application. You can also define what's going to happen when you double click on objects. For example, when you double click on a family, do you want it to go to the family editor or not? And then how much tooltip resistance do you want? There's none, minimal, normal and high. The recent files page is the default view on startup. If you want to get rid of this view then you can uncheck it here or check it to enable it. The tab switching behavior determines what happens to the ribbon after you deselect an element in the project or family editor. You can also turn off the contextual ribbon tabs here if you don't want to see them. On the graphics tab, warnings can appear indicating that your graphics card is not supported or the driver is newer than the one that was being tested with Revit. For example, here you can see that my driver is currently newer than the one that's been certified by Revit. The graphics card itself has been certified, but only with the certified driver as shown on the screen there. It's worth rolling back to the certified driver if you do find you are getting graphical issues. Within the graphics mode here you can turn off the hardware acceleration and you can optimize the view navigation or anti-aliasing. These should be disabled if your graphics card does not support them or if again you're having any display issues. The ability to flip from a white to a black background can be defined in the color section. This is something that a user coming from AutoCAD will often request. However, you should remember that Revit is a WYSIWYG interface, so what you see is what you get. So if you're printing on white paper, you should try to stick with a white background. Selection and pre-selection colors can be defined here too. Useful if you like to see different colors for objects that have been selected than the ones that are default. When you select an object on the screen, you'll find that often you get temporary dimensions. So the size and the background of these dimensions is defined here. On the File Locations tab, you can see we can define the default templates that will be available. For example, I have 3 different templates set up here, one for my company, one for the default architecture and another for a default construction template. You can also define the paths for some default custom content and folders for the family templates. Down here you'll find the places, and this is the area of the dialog box when you're opening and saving files on the left hand side, giving you shortcuts. So you can see here there's shortcuts to the metric library and the metric detail library. When Revit displays an image file for a material, it first looks for the image file in the location specified by the material. However, if it cannot find the file in that location, for example if the file was created on another computer or on a different network, then Revit will search the paths that you specify in the additional render appearance path list. So it would be beneficial to make a folder here and put any image files that you've received from exterior consultants so that their materials will display correctly. The ArcVision Content Manager location is used to control content for ArcVision. For example, the people, trees and vehicles known as RPC, rich photorealistic content. Here on the spell checking tab you can set your main language for spell checking, as well as set some words to be ignored for spell checking, like uppercase words or words with numbers. You can also specify additional dictionaries to be used with the spell checker. The steering wheel is that part of the interface that you will use for navigating camera views and turn off the rest of the time when you're using Revit. In plan views it replicates the control of a scroll button on a standard 3-button mouse, but in a less efficient way. So I find I only use the steering wheel when I'm in a camera view and I want to walk around the building. You'll find numerous settings for the steering wheel here on the steering wheel pane. The view cube is used for orientating your 3D views. It is especially powerful as a way to look at a model from an elevation perspective in a 3D view. It's also good when you just lose yourself inside of a 3D view and you want to get back to a known view direction, for example the southwest isometric view. You can also set the size and opacity of the view cube here on the view cube pane. And finally, the macros, which are small applications that enable you to automate processes. You can enable or disable them on the macros tab. You may want to disable them for security reasons within your organization. Any changes made to the macro settings will not take effect until the next time that Revit is opened.